Hey guys, this is Louis, the IT guy. Today we're going to be deploying a Linux virtual machine in Azure. We're going to log in via SSH, and we're also going to configure a graphic user interface and RDP into our Linux virtual machine. Let's go to our Azure portal. Let's click here on create. Here now in our create a virtual machine page, let's create a new resource group. Let's name it Linux resource group 1. Let's set our virtual machine name, test machine 01. For the region, let's go with East US. We're going to be using the Ubuntu Server 20.04 LTS. Here, we're going to leave this size. And here in the authentication type, let's use SSH public key. And here for the key pair name, let's change it to my key. Let's leave it like this and go to disks, and let's leave auto default, it doesn't matter. And here on networking, let's leave auto default. So let's just click on review plus create, and let's see the validation, how it goes, if we missed anything or not. So apparently all the validation has been successfully passed. So let's click on create. Now, before moving on, we have to download our private key to be able to create the resource, because if we don't, we're not going to be able to download it later. So let's just download it now and make note of it. We downloaded it to our downloads folder. So let's click on download private key and create resource, and the deployment is in progress. Okay, now that our deployment is complete, let's go to our resource, and here we can see that everything is set up as we wished. Here, our public IP address, we have it here. So let's go ahead and connect via SSH. So to be able to connect via SSH, we have to use the following through PowerShell. But let's change this information for our public key. So let's go to the VM again and copy our public IP address, right? And here we have to put the path and the name of our .pen file. So let's see if this is correct. So here it's saying that are we sure that we want to continue connecting even though the authenticity cannot be established of that host. We type yes, and now we see that it was permanently added. Now we're not going to be having to authenticate like that every time. So now we can see here that we are logged in to our Ubuntu machine via SSH. It's good to note that if you are on a Mac or Linux machine, you have to open a bash prompt and set read-only permission on the .pen file using this right here. Let me show you. Using this right here, okay? With your location of your private key path and your user and your public IP address. So that's it on that part. Okay, so now that we know that we can log in via SSH to our Linux machine, what if we wanted to use our graphic user interface to use the machine? So let's see how we can do that now. Okay, so now that we're logged in via SSH on our Linux machine, let's run a sudo apt -get update that will help us update our apt package index. And sudo stands for super user do, which typically is used to grant super user access for operations. It's the same thing as run as administrator in Windows. And apt-get, it is used for retrieving packages on Linux distributions. So this is what I ran here, and as you can see, we got what it did is it retrieved all the packages that needed to be updated. So we can see here, and it said reading package lists done. So let's do the following also. Let's do sudo apt get -y install xfce4. Okay, so it's installing there. Okay. Don't get scared if you see all that going through. Okay, so it's gonna ask us here. A display manager is a program that provides graphical login capabilities for the X Windows system. Only one display manager can manage a given X server, but multiple display manager packages are installed. Please select which display manager should run by default. So let's just click on GDM3 and click OK and go here. Okay. So the XFCE4 environment is like it's like this lightweight desktop environment for Unix-like operating systems. So you're gonna see like your little desktop and everything. It's super friendly and it's kind of visually appealing. So let's see how it looks. It's gonna keep updating and unpacking all the packages there. Okay, so what it's doing now, it's like it's getting ready the desktop environment so we can have our graphic user interface or GUI. So after that is ready, we're gonna have to install an RDP server on the VM so we can go ahead and enter through it like if we were using the Windows remote desktop, for example, to enter to our computers. So let's give it a, I'm gonna pause the video till this finishes so we can continue and install the RDP server. Okay, so now that we're done installing the desktop environment, as I said before, let's go ahead and install our XRDP RDP server onto the VM. So let's do the following. Let's write here, let's type here. Let's clean this a little bit. Oops, sorry. Let's clean this a little bit. So let's do sudo apt get y install xrdp. So it's going to be installing there. So you can see it's creating, and there it is. We're ready there. So now let's go ahead and enable it. Let me clear it so you can see it better. Sudo system ctl enable xrdp. Sorry, typo here. Okay. So now that it is enabled, we have to basically introduce the XRDP server to the desktop environment that we previously installed. So it's like telling the server, hey, use this environment on the connection establishment. Okay, so let's basically do the following. Let's copy this here. So do this, click enter, and now let's restart the service. Okay, we're restarting the server. So we already have our GUI set up and our RDP server set up, but something is missing. Let's go here to our networking blade, and here on our network security groups, we're missing our TCP 3389 protocol, that it's what helps us to reach the VM for connection. Okay, so we can have so I can route the incoming traffic. So we didn't do that earlier. We only activated the port 22 for SSH. So now let's go through our Cloud Shell. You can also do this through PowerShell with your Azure AD module, and you can do it through CMD with your with Azure CLI. But let's just do it through here since we're here already, and we're gonna create another rule in our security group. So let's do this. Let me see if I can make it a little bit bigger so you can see. Yeah. Okay. So let's see here for the test machine, we're gonna need our resource group name. Okay, so let's do this. AZ, let's go to bash, sorry. Okay. So let's do AZ VM, and we're gonna say open port on resource group, Linux RG1 on VM, what's the name? Test machine -01. And we're gonna say open port 3389. Let's click on enter and see what happens. See, it's starting and running. Let's go here through our networking and see if we can see it here. You see here, it's created, was successfully created. Here we see the provisioning state succeeded, and we can now see it here on our network security group. So let's go ahead again and get our public IP address. And let's go to our Windows Start and get our remote desktop connection up. Let's paste it there and click connect to see. So here we see that we have connectivity to our VM through RDP. And here is our XRDP login page. So let's try with the Azure user and our password. Click OK. And apparently it's logging in successfully. Okay. And here we see our lightweight desktop environment loading. And now we are in our virtual machine through RDP with a graphic user interface. And it's like if you have a normal Linux installed on a VM. Well, it is on the VM, but an Azure VM. So here we see we have our folders, our file manager, our places. We have our trash. We can browse our network. Here we can change our date, time. Here it tells us that we are on an Ubuntu. We can switch user, lock screen. We can do anything that we can do on any graphic user interface. The only difference is that this one is lightweight. Here we have our terminal. We have browsers. Well, we don't have any browser installed. That we can do later. But here you have it, folks. Okay, guys, so if you like this video, you find it helpful and that you learned something, please share it. Comment below if you have any questions. Hit the like button, subscribe, and do everything that helps this algorithm share these videos with more people and helps us get better each time. See you next time, and thank you for watching.